Yo, what's going on? It's that boy Fred. Welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, we got our first verse v versus battle, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? We got Sosuke Aizen from Bleach, and we got Madara Uchiha from Naruto. Now, like I said, this is gonna be my first real verse v verse because the Gojo and Goku thing was more of a just I don't even really know what you want to call that. That was just more of me kind of ranting. And the Fujitora versus Naruto, that was more of just a gag video. I'm gonna be honest, I was just talking in that. I didn't really take it too serious. But this I am gonna take serious because these are your two most popular villains in both shows. So I always thought this would be a very interesting one. But before we get into the video, if you're new to the channel, if you've been watching for quite some time and you haven't went down there and hit the subscribe button, I would really appreciate it if you could because it would help me hit my goal of 200 subs. And also, while you're done there, if you could hit the like button so we can share the video and grow the channel, that would be really appreciated of you. But with all that out the way, let's get straight into the video. Now, to get the video started, the good thing about both of these fighters is they're actually some of my top favorite characters of all time because honestly, Aizen is probably like my second favorite character in Bleach, and Madara's like my third favorite in Naruto. So it's not too much bias going to be going on either side of this. And to make this versus battle as easy as possible because Bleach is they're not featless, but they're very stateless with their feats, if that makes sense. They basically have a very terrible, I don't know what's wrong with Kubo, but he doesn't really state what his people can do. In Naruto, there are plenty of people who are stated to be lightning, light, speed, but Kubo just really doesn't do that for some reason, and so he makes these type of Bleach versus battles a lot harder. But I'm going to make it through, and to make this versus battle, like I said, a tad bit easier, we're going to go with the simple format being speed, moves and power, and then we'll go to a conclusion to make it as simple as possible. So starting off with speed, we're going to go into the difficult one being Aizen first. So like I said, Kubo doesn't really normally give Bleach characters really speed feats or any type of things like that. But I thought of a way to make this a lot more a lot easier and a lot easier to comprehend. So basically, the Ichigo that fought Byakuya with the Mach Bankai in the beginning, well, towards the end of the Soul Society arc, is stated in their data books. This is like one of the only actual speed feats. Is basically kind of relevant to lightning speed. And so, as you can see from the panel that's on the screen, that basically is equivalent to basically just calling that Ichigo lightning speed. And so, if you honestly just, just go along with how the series should go, Ichigo naturally gets stronger and faster, including his mask, and then eventually Dankai, and eventually Mugetsu. So, easily evolving throughout those forms, you're naturally going to get faster and faster. And so, honestly, by the end of the series, when him and Aizen originally fight, they're both probably basically knocking at light speed as it is. But for the most part, we're going to be talking about manga Aizen anyways. So, that Ichigo had a Mach Bankai all this time, and the Ichigo in the manga and Aizen are actually still really relevant. And honestly, the fight might be a little different now. I'm gonna be honest. Aizen in the manga is a lot more cracked. And then so basically, if that Ichigo is getting faster and faster, and like I said, him and Aizen are still really relevant to each other, that basically just means, to make it as simple as could be, Ichigo and Aizen, wherever Ichigo goes up, Aizen is either if you want to say a little bit below it, or really just right there with him, with whatever he's doing. Because Aizen, even though he was sealed away in that chair, with the Hogyoku inside him, he still managed to get stronger and stronger as he just sat there anyways. So his power is more significant than it was even in the anime, and so is his speed and everything else, you would assume. So basically, if the end of the anime, basically where it was with their fight, is them knocking at light speed, you honestly could just give them both a bone and easily say they're both either at light speed or a tad bit above it in the manga. I'm one of the people, I would give them above light speed, because Yuhabak and the Quincy's had some pretty especially Yuhabak, he has some crazy light speed facts that he did in the manga. And so Aizen was and Ichigo, as we both know, fought Yuhabog. They did. I mean, okay. I mean, they got the dub, so they had to do good enough. They was at least able to spar with him, even though Yuhabok was so cracked, being able to go into the future and all this other crazy stuff. That's for another video about him, though. But that basically is the long wrap up of where you can basically give Aizen. You can give him light speed or a tad bit above it if you want to. It's up to you. I'm going to give him a little bit above it. Now, Madara's is a little bit more concrete because freaking Kishimoto actually sits there and he just tells us. Like, it's not really a hard thing. Basically, Madara has his Sage Art, I want to say, is it Light Fang attack, which is, I mean, as you can say, I mean, here in the name, it's a light speed attack. And you can only use it when you're in the six paths powers. So, Madara basically, and this is what one Rinnegan Madara he was able to use this. We're going to be talking about double Rinnegan since we're both talking about both the fighters at their strongest forms. So basically, Madara is, you can also say, just easily above light speed, especially once it gets his double Rinnegan and then his Char Rinnegan, Kaguya's third eye, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember if it's Char Rinnegan. No, it's Char Rinnegan. Yeah, it is. All right, but yeah, basically that's gonna wrap up the speed feat. All right, now moving into more of the moves and just straight up power section. So basically, with Aizen at least, you know, Aizen has his arguably one of the most broken abilities in all the anime, being Kyoka Suigetsu. You know, in the anime it was more so his sword, but in the manga, since he fused with his sword, now basically if you just look at Aizen, you can get thrown under Kyoka Suigetsu. And that's exactly what happened to Yuhabak in the manga. That's why he got caught by it, and that's why he got himself killed. Um, but basically, Aizen has, you know, Kyoka Sugetsu, which is cracked. He has any of the Keto moves, and his strongest move is Hado 99, as he used in the manga. I'm assuming that's probably honestly the strongest Keto move altogether. It would make sense. Um, Hado 99 5 Dragon Destruction, if I remember that was the English translation to it. So yeah, that's probably his strongest Keto move. And then of course, you know, he has his nice swordsmanship. Um, Aizen probably is, I don't actually. I'm not even gonna go to raw power because I was gonna start talking planetary small time. I'm not even gonna get into that. That's for another video. I'll tell you that much. We'll just talk about moves more so. We won't even get into like strength and all that. It would take a little bit too long, and I don't want this video to drag on to like 20 minutes. But basically, so moving on to Madara. Madara, as we all know, fire style, um, what else does he have? Genjutsu. But even though in this state, I don't really know if he would have Genjutsu since he now has both Renegons. I mean, the Char Renegon might be able to do something, but I don't know. We didn't really see anything of that except for the Infinite Sugiyomi. But it had to open up because of that. But anyways, you know, he has Planetary Devastation, as we've seen. He has all the six paths moves. You know, Madara has a lot of his sleeves. He definitely does have a lot of his sleeves. So I guess now we can kind of sort of move into, you know, now that we got the, you know, basic speeds, moves, I'll kind of get into how I feel like this fight could play out, because if I'm gonna be honest, this fight has two ways to play out. Okay. So basically, this is how the fight's gonna go. And this is just honestly in my opinion. There's two ways it could play out. These two ways is A, and it all depends on Madara. Madara is basically the deciding factor of this fight. If Madara, now this first way might not make sense, but you'll understand. If Madara acts the way he normally does, he's gonna lose. If Madara acts like how he should, and he's very blood hungry, and you know he's just bloodlusted, he will probably win. Now, the third way that this could go wrong is that altogether, like before the fights even start, Madara's boom and Kyoku Sugetsu game over. That's a lame reason, so that's why I didn't really include it. But the first two reasons, I'm gonna go into the first reason why Madara would lose if he was to act the way he normally does. Madara is the type of guy that even though he knows how strong he is and he knows how strong the opponent he's going against is, Madara for some reason doesn't truly always go all the way out. Now, when he does, most of the time it's because he's going against someone who he fully knows is worth every inch of his power, like Hashirama. So, like, and even against Naruto and Sasuke, a good example is his fight against Guy first. Let's say this. His fight against Guy. Basically, Madara, as we all know, had Limbo clones. He at least had one with the one Rinnegan that he had. He had a Limbo clone. Not once did he decide to use that Limbo clone to take any of the hits for Guy, because Madara felt that he was more than enough to handle Guy. Even though he knew Guy was a user of the 8th gate, he declared Guy the strongest in all of this other stuff that he said, yet he still didn't feel the need to use a Limbo clone. The second Naruto showed up and kicked away that truth-seeking orb, and he was about to attack, he immediately used up a Limbo clone, and Naruto dodged it quickly and still smacked his ass with a Rasen Shuriken. So that is like kind of where Madara is in terms of like how his true character is, because for some reason Madara doesn't always just go crazy. Hold on. Okay, my bad for that. I had some stuff that popped off real quick. But yeah, basically what I was saying was Madara definitely does have an issue with not fully going all out to begin with. Not that he doesn't try, I wouldn't say that, because if he did, he would probably accidentally die. But he definitely doesn't go to his full extent, because I'm a firm believer that if he wanted to, he truly could have killed Guy. Not a lot. I don't know how people gonna feel about that, but that's just how I feel. I'm a firm believer that if Madara truly wanted to, he would have killed Guy. He would have ended it a lot quicker than what it was. He would have even like resulted in half his body getting blown up. Night Guy would have never even happened. He would have did that way before him. And we also got to remember that, you know, Guy had help to even get to that point. So that's neither here or there. But Madara does have a big issue with that. And Aizen is definitely the last person that you want to go into a fight playing around with at all. You want to go into that fight and you want to be full power, you want to be full force right off the jump, or you're going to get caught lacking. Because Aizen is too smart of a character, and not the notch Madara's intelligence, because him and Aizen both have some stupid crazy intelligence feat. Especially with Madara's whole plan and all this going out, and Aizen finding out that Ichigo's whole birth and all this stuff was all a part of his plan. You know, the memes about Aizen, everything was a part of his plan. And you know, Aizen being that smart of a character, that, you know, if you go in there lacking, that you're gonna get caught. You know what I'm saying? And with Aizen in the manga, it's so hard for you to truly beat this guy, because Madara, he, even though he has Hashirama Sage mode in him, that's probably gonna be like, if he figures out what Aizen has, which I honestly don't know. I would probably have to do another scenario with them both having full intelligence on each other, because if Madara doesn't know how Aizen works, how his power works, how Kyoto Suigetsu or any of that works, then he's just going to go in there. He's going to look Aizen up and down. He's going to look at him. They're going to talk. And next thing you know, Madara's either going to be decapitated, or every time he tries to do something to Aizen, it's just going to be like a freaking, it's basically just a more powerful genjutsu, if you ask me. A way easier genjutsu to get off, because you can look at Aizen from a distance away and you're going to fall under. You just have to look at him. That's all. A genjutsu, you have to at least transfer chakra into someone's eye. You have to at least make straight up eye contact with them, for the most part. But yeah, so Aizen being that type of guy, it is very, very hard for me to believe that if Madara, if he, the way we see Madara, because honestly, this is flat at how it should go. Like, realistically, this fight should be Aizen wins, because of how Madara, just how his personality is. And that's, of course, in my opinion. If you disagree, leave it down below. But for my Madara fans out there, here's your dub. If Madara doesn't act like how he does in the show, and he acts a tad bit different, he acts like full power, killer intent right off the jump, he's gonna go get Aizen's throat. basically, I do believe that Madara is physically stronger and he is a tad bit faster than Aizen. So, with that, I like it's hard to fully say that like Madara, because Kyoka Suigetsu, Aizen, like him becoming Kyoka Suigetsu is like it's so hard for me to figure out a true way that Madara wins without truly making eye contact with his body. Because like Yuhabak just threw like an attack at Aizen, and he thought he was, because Aizen used his 5 Dragon Destruction. Yuhabak stabbed him or took off his arm. I can't remember, one of the two. And then he turns around and Ichigo breaks his swords and like destroys a hole in Ichigo's heart where it would be. And then he just straight up says, "So I appear to Ichigo Kurosaki to you." And then Ichigo comes up behind him and Geshuga Tensho's Yuhabak, and that's GG's. So it's like even the slightest sight of Aizen can throw you under there. But I truly feel that somehow, some way, Madara could find a way. I do believe in him that with his killer intent, he can find a way to beat Aizen. It's gonna be really hard. Like this is gonna be 10 out of 10 diff, maybe like 20 out of 10. I don't even know. They don't even make sense. But that's just how difficult it is fighting someone like Aizen, especially being around his same skill gap. Like, cause Bleach and Naruto characters, I've always been a firm believer that for the most part, like the higher tier Bleach characters are stronger than the higher tier Naruto characters. But that's just me. And so them being like decently close in power, but yeah, man, this is definitely a really good fight. Like these are like, man, it's such a good fight. Even just thinking about it now, like it's crazy. Now I will touch on this real quick. If both fighters have full knowledge on each other, then I feel like Aizen may like it now. It's straight up a 50-50. Like it's 10 out of 10 diff for both fighters. It's 50 out of 50. Like it's straight up 50-50. Because now Madara knows that he can't look at Aizen, but Madara also knows that he has Sage Mode. So now Madara, as we also know, like we know for a fact Madara can fight just fine without seeing, because he did it for a long time before he got his Rinnegan. So Madara could easily close his eyes, and now this fight is like kind of a very, very difficult one, because now Aizen can use his most broken ability, but now he does, like, he's still not slow. He still has great swordsmanship, and he still has all his Hado and key moves. You know what I'm saying? And there are a lot of those Hado moves are like very very good for like situations for like trapping people and doing stuff along those lines. How Kisuke used them on Aizen when he basically trapped them, sealed up his wrist, sealed up his movement, and all that. Like if Aizen used them in a way like that, then he can definitely still catch Madara off guard. But yeah, for the most part, I want to say realistically, without like me going into different scenarios, Aizen will win the fight. But if I give, Madara the chance to get full knowledge on him, it's now 50-50. And if I give Madara murder intent, right off the rip, then I really want to give it to Madara 10 out of 10 diff, but I could still give it to Aizen as well, like very easily. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up this video right here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you made it to the end of the video, I want to give you guys a nice little surprise. I'll give you guys my next 2 thumbnails. Not for the next 2 videos, but my next thumbnails on the next versus battle again. I need to come up with something else to call that. But boom. And there you go, right there. So those are the next 2 that I'll be doing at sometime into the near future. So be ready for those. But with everything else, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.